And if you're sitting comfortably, we'll begin. That will mean something to one or two British members of a certain age, at least.
Nice stuff.
Right, so has anyone got any burning issues, questions, or anything they'd like to raise, go through, point out?
I recall Crispin saying the single raise is in physiotherapy is a really important exercise. It really, I wonder if is this something to expand on? What it?
Yes, the single leg raise.
Yeah.
Well, we got another two people who are going to join us, which is TJ and Julie.
Sorry, Tom. Was that? Were you talking about the straight leg raise there?
Yeah, I thought a couple of weeks ago you said it's a really important and beneficial exercise. Just wondering what it's working on or.
Crispin, do you want to take it, or shall I? You know what I'm like.
No, go ahead, Steve. Go on.
Basically, it's the hip hinge. Now, now you will probably recognize the hip hinge in, let's say, something like a squat, for instance. Very timely. Today's on the squat. For a swing, like a kettlebell swing. However, if the body is gonna, or wrong, if you're gonna produce a coherent and strong hip hinge, which, as I often state, is the single strongest human movement, then both sides of the hip need to work sufficiently, need to be able to work sufficiently symmetrically. Now, that's not just how far they can go into flexion, it's how far they can go into extension as well. So you want some form of, let's call it, independent coherence, if that's not a contradiction, between the two sides. They need to be coherent and they need to have sufficient range of movement. And therein lies the single leg raise, because that is something where you can really confidently identify competence or lack thereof. We've got 6% on my battery, so I will just plug in. Bear with me. Crispin, take over.
Does everyone know when Tom was asking about the straight leg raise, does anyone not know what that is? You guys all happy with that? TJ, are you happy with the straight? Yeah, good, yeah. Like it wasn't until I started learning more from the FMS team I realized like how fundamental it was. So it's kind of one of the foundation movements, along with shoulder mobility, because shoulder mobility is like a reflection of thoracic mobility in the spine, and so those those two patterns are really important. And as Steve was saying, it's not just about kind of range of movement; it's also about symmetry as well. So in order for us to be able to, I mean, there's so many things that require a hip hinge, like everything from the squat to walking, like ambulation, everything is kind of connected to the hip hinge.
So we sort of have this concept of complex simplicity, where it is just that real simple, hip hinge, that movement of the straight leg. But then you also have to see that the hip isn't as simple a joint as, let's say, the knee. So the hip, you can hinge like that, you can go into extension, but then you can also independently rotate on each side, either inside or outside. The sacrum at the center can rotate itself one way or the other, while the two iliums, the two sides, behave independently as well. So the scope for variety is enormous, and that's a good thing, because the hips are the strongest thing we've got. If you've got all of this scope for variety, that means you can get this really strong player into everything that you do. But in much like our approach to all aspects of movement, you can look at it in the hierarchy and drop down to the lowest level at which you do not have competence, and then, to be honest, drop down a level again. If you're not displaying competence in a movement, it's generally because there's some form of flaw or deficit in the components upon which it depends. And so, much like you are very unlikely to solve or to acquire the skill of walking just by concentrating on walking. You have to go into all of the things that it depends on. So if you want to be able to display a movement skill, well, first of all, that range of movement needs to be available. You can't learn a skill in a range of movement that doesn't exist. So does that start to paint a little bit of a picture, Tom?
Yes, I just remember the way Crispin phrased it. It seemed like it had a lot of benefits to it. I just wanted to hear a little bit more.
Well, ironically enough, it's going to be included tonight, and I will relay how it is of crucial importance to the squat, and maybe demonstrate to yourselves within the movements that you're going to do. So if no further questions, and I'll obviously welcome if there are, just as a little bit of a warm up, as is my favorite warm up, as I'm sure you all know, we just go through the rolling suite, the arm leg rolls to either side, flexion and extension, and then with the legs. Although often, actually, I say it that way, I would generally start with the legs first. That to me is a more simple movement. And then if that flosses the spine a little more, to then make the more complex arm leg roll easier facilitated. I noticed last time, Crispin, can I make you a joint host? Can I? Yeah. Is that? I can obviously make you host, but then that will disempower me as host. Can I make you a joint?
A co-host is a good option.
Yeah, as co-host is it? Yeah. Oh, Reese is with us. Oh, mate, this is doing me head in now. How do I make it a co-host?
Yeah, I think it's just you just press on the three.
Make you a host.
Okay.
I'll tell you what. If you've had.
If you make me host, maybe I can make you co-host.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You want to change host to Crispin? Yeah, okay. You are now host, mate. You have the power.
Okay. That is so weird, Steve. Yeah, like normally it's got an option here to make you co-host, but which isn't there. That is so strange.
Do you know?
I'm not quite sure why that is. Really.
Okay, well, flick it back to me then, mate. I wonder if it's anything to do with the fact I'm recording to my machine as opposed to recording to the cloud. I mean, I suppose it could be, because that is something that's different, but not something that you'd think would make a difference. Anyway, we can live with it, because I'm sure bored to death anyone who was watching the recording. Right. So, as you know, the way we try to move through these sessions, you can call it the warm-up, but then it's actually just a viable part of the session. We like to start at the bottom of the movement pyramid, or bottom of the sequence, and then move up to the one we're going to feature. But we're featuring the squat, which is quite high up. And so what we'll try to do is represent the squat, if we can, in all of the lower level patterns as we move through, so we get the benefit of grooving a lower pattern, but then also particularly focusing on aspects which are relevant to the squat. Crispin mentioned last time out, or the one before, about the relevance of the disposition of the spine, which sort of runs along with the neurodevelopment sequence. First of all, whether it's in a supported position, which will be lying on the floor, which then makes any movement less complex. And you go up in complexity to a suspended spine, which would be in quadruped, for instance, or anything other where you're supporting the spine on more than 2 points of contact with the ground. And then you go into the stacked spine. So we'll start off with a supported spine movement, reflecting the squat, which is the happy baby roll. Now, as Crispin had previously pointed out, the happy baby roll, if you think about the squat position, well, you're in a squat position, but you're on your back, as Aditya is demonstrating there. And something which is a great facilitator of the happy baby roll is if you can grab hold of the feet. Now, when you develop competence in the happy baby, you will find that, first of all, you can quite gracefully move through the roll to either side. And then, as you can see Corey doing here, you can see how he's pushing with one foot and pulling with the other. Hi, Maria. And that's how you can that's how you can sort of drive the roll, but then also experience a bit of variety in there.
Reese, make sure you hold your feet on the inside of your legs, rather than the outside. So if you take your hands, thread your hands in through the middle of your legs. Yeah, that's it. Well done.
Now, as ever, the head is really important. Now, you can use it as a log roll, and that would be the best bit, is if you can gracefully keep your chin aligned with your spine. But if you're struggling at all, use the eyes, then the head, to take you in the direction of the roll. See how you're doing there, TJ. Yep. So TJ, if you look at Gary, you can see that Gary can't quite get to his feet either. So he holds on to the shins.
He can reach can you hear me? He can reach his feet, but his right hand, he can't hold on.
I see.
Did I use a strap or?
Yeah, absolutely use the strap. The strap would be a winner.
Let's try the strap.
So Julie, with respect to he can't hold on, is that because of gripping skills with the hand, or is that because the leg pushes out?
No, it's his right hand. He doesn't have the grip.
Yeah.
He has the strength, but he doesn't have the sensation, and so he can't keep it there.
Let's get your fingers around that foot with that right hand and squash it, mate. Clamp on.
Yeah, it's like a clamp, exactly. He's trying to do that now.
And well, you want to try to do it lying down. Well, certainly if you were to do it by yourself, because then you don't have to have the slam dunk going down into the position.
Right,
that's it, TJ.
Lay on your back. Now he was saying you can pull this one in and to push this one over. Breathe.
So you pull in on the side that you're rolling to and push out to the other side.
And then push up.
So yeah, if you're going over to your right, pull in with that right and push out with the left. But turn your head, TJ. Turn your head and look to the right, the way you're going.
I can't look somewhere.
If he looks to the right, he loses his foot.
So the more important thing with this is that you experience the roll. So if trying to hold the feet means you can't get there, then just hold on to the shins.
It'll be the same issue with the shin.
Well, so either you could potentially use the strap, as you say, or don't hold on to anything.
Can you turn
You
your
just
head
bring the knees up.
Pull your left foot in. See if you can roll.
Tom, that is really good, Tom. You're working with that now without the need for the blocks on either side. Well done.
Well, I'm grabbing the shins. If I grab my feet, then once I go over, I can't get back up. But I think it's probably best to start with this and work up.
Yeah, lay back on your right shoulder when you try to roll.
So,
Pull your foot in.
so what's an important concept to learn with everything that we do is that it's very seldom a rewarding task, can often be a damaging task. If you just keep trying and trying and trying at a pattern that you don't have any competence. If you're going to keep trying at a movement, it needs to be one at which you challenge but successful. If you repeatedly try in the face of challenge but no success, that's because there is something that you're doing that is wrong. However, in repeatedly trying that, you're actually just going to reinforce whatever's wrong. So if you find you're not successful, and I do not care how close you are to successful. I mean, there's a word for if you're really close to being successful, and that's unsuccessful. So if you're not successful, step down the challenge and then acquire competence in the technique that will deliver the result. And then that will learn the skills that will then bring the slightly higher challenge into the within the reach of competence. And so, for instance, with that, exactly that, TJ, spot on. Okay. Try it with the hands, whatever you like. Crossed on the chest is great. And with the knees up and rolling from side to side. That is brilliant, TJ. Exactly what we want. Now, if you get comfortable with that, or rather more importantly, if you get awareness of what you're bringing to the table to affect the role, that will then start delivering competence at the higher level of challenge. But just as a example here, Gary, could I ask you to just sit up with your legs out straight? If I'll affect the position for you, actually, mate, just to make it clear for you. I ask you to just sit up like that.
Can you see him?
Yeah, perfect, Gary. Just like that. Now, can you bring your feet and knees together? Point your feet to the ceiling. Now, can you reach forward and touch your toes? Yeah. Right, so can you do that keeping your legs straight so you don't bend the knees? And remember, those knees want to bend, but so that's not within your comfortable reach. So what that then tells us is that you haven't got that full range of hip flexion available to you. Now, as we were discussing earlier, the question then becomes, is that because you don't have that range of hip flexion available to both, or is it just not available to one? Because if it's not available to one of them, when you try to use them together, well, the best you can ever hope for is the level of the worst side. Now, so that's showing that one side doesn't have at least full range of hip flexion. So as you also noticed, when you were trying to do the happy baby roll, you couldn't get down and hold the feet, which again is indicative of insufficient range of hip flexion. So the best place to resolve both of those things is not in repeatedly trying to either touch your toes or grab them in the baby roll. It's the active straight leg raise. Now, the active straight leg raise by itself is just lying flat and lifting it up. But that's more of an assessment rather than a training drill. The training drill, where you can do it where we're challenged but successful, and we can be really confident with our stability and then therefore be more concentrating on awareness than sort of bracing to get the results. So we use the door frame or something similar to that, which for me here, I've got a handy chimney stack. So what I want, what I can do is get myself close enough so that I can feel a little bit of tightness in my hamstring. If I feel that little bit of tightness, that's my baseline. And then I move back until I no longer feel the tightness in that leg. That's where we start. And what's important here is that the down leg can stay straight. It's not getting pulled out. It's not getting externally rotated. It can comfortably lie on the floor. If it can't comfortably lie on the floor, you've got two options. You can either come further away from the wall, or you can place a prop underneath. Both of them are viable. Both of them offer different things, and use both. So what you then want to see, perfect straight leg, perfect straight leg. Now, first of all, do a check, see how it feels. And then once you're happy with how it feels, relax the head. You don't want to be straining up here. The big thing about the straight leg raise is how your core functions. If your core is not firing correctly, either sequence-wise, strength-wise, or just pattern-wise, then you're not going to get the stability at the hip that you need. And so the hamstring is going to try to help out. And so when you feel your hamstring tighten, it's not because it's short necessarily. It's most often because it's inappropriate tone, firing when it shouldn't have to. And then we just bring it through the range. 5 to 10 reps. The moment I feel any sort of fatigue or tightening elsewhere, I stop, switch round onto the other leg. Now, anyone, any questions on the straight leg raise?
You have one.
No? Well, if everyone could just do a minimum of 5 each. Now, both Gary and TJ, you've got your helpful assistants with you. You can use your helpful assistant to set the height of the leg rather than having to shuffle to the door frame unnecessarily. So,
Sorry, what do you want to scoot over to the door frame or how?
well, no, you can just hold his the foot up, and obviously just get feedback from him as to when the hamstring's tight. When it's tight, you just lower it a little bit until it's no longer tight.
I cannot straighten my knee. I've tried.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. So don't strain it at all, Amber. We just want you to, do it within a zone of complete confidence.
Good.
Right, now, Gary, I can see that knee bending both on the way up and the way down. So, Joni, if you could lower that leg a little. Please, 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 everyone, do not think that trying up at the boundary is the best place for progress. It's absolutely the worst place for progress, because you won't get any, but it will keep dangling the carrot, saying, yeah, this is, you can get further than this if you try hard. And that's the exact recipe for zero progress, and also programming a poor pattern. Try not to let that knee bend on the way down either, guys, if you can. Excellent. And then lower the heel as if it's an egg that you don't want to break. That looks great, TJ. With control on the way down. It's bending a little on the way down. Make sure you keep that leg straight. Integrate your breathing. And notice if you get tempted to brace, or if you feel a need to brace.
Guys, I was just looking at what some of you are doing. I noticed that some of you are trying to do this without using any support on your up leg. And apart from Brooke, who has a very good straight leg raise, I think some of you might struggle to keep your stability and your down leg straight. So Reese and Jules, I think you'd if it's not to hand, don't worry now, but I really recommend like Steve was showing us with the heel up against a surface, like a wall or a door frame or something. Actually, if we could highlight Linda, Steve, that would be really
sure.
that'd be really good. Like this is a really, really nice example. And you can see Linda is ticking a lot of boxes here, because to start with, both legs are completely straight. And that's a really key thing. There's no little bit of flexion as the knee goes up and down. And you'll see that there's like a really nice controlled descent of the leg as it comes down. And Linda looks very chilled out, actually, definitely. So, but you can see, like, you know, because Linda's got her heel up against a solid surface, that will allow the hip hinge to really to work really well. So, and unless you're super good at this, I'd recommend not trying to do it kind of freestyle without anything.
Yeah, the reason I'm struggling to like hold it up is I've got quite tight muscles behind my legs.
Yeah, so
that's
that's what was the same, Reese. So that the tight muscles behind your leg, that will be because your core sequencing is out. That the pattern that you're using to stabilize your core is producing insufficient results. And so the muscles at the back of your legs are trying to stabilize your pelvis, when you're also then using them in a movement where if they've got inappropriate tone, well, then they get in the way of the movement. So you've got to reduce the challenge of the movement so you don't get the inappropriate tone. Because what you could see is every time you were raising a leg, the knee was bending. So obviously the muscle at the back of your thigh, that connects to the back of your shin. And if that starts to contract, well, it's going to bend the knee. And so the bending of either knee is the telltale sign that you've got a compensatory stabilization pattern going. And so, I mean, it's a very rare day you're in a room that hasn't got a doorway, you know? So just get to the doorway, set the leg at a height where there's no tightness behind the supported leg. And it doesn't matter how low you've got to go. It needs to be low enough so you don't have tension behind it. Once you find that position, you'll get progress. If you try it in almost any other way, then you're not going to get progress, and you're better off not actually trying the drill. But so that, and the thing is, the classic Western movement lifestyle, even for people who are fit, well, supposedly fit and active, is one which starts to inhibit hip flexion or range of hip flexion. So this is something which everyone should be doing every day, unless they stand, walk, and run more in any one day than they sit down. If you have a day where you do more standing, walking, and running than you do sitting, fair enough. That's a day you can have off from your straight leg raise, because you will have already done sufficient maintenance on your hip hinge. Outside of that, well, then it's a day that's going to benefit from a straight leg raise. It's as you can see, I'm being really emphatic about this one because it's
Could
something
you
that
put yourself on spotlight, Steve?
Sorry, say again.
Can you put yourself on spotlight?
Oh yeah, instead of you. People are thinking you're saying all this without your lips moving. Sorry, Linda.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it really is so important and so easy to get progress, but then it's just so easy to mess it all up. But also, the only way you can mess it all up is simply a lack of discipline. Now, I'm sorry to get all schoolmastery on it, but it's as simple as that. If you haven't got the discipline to do it correctly, don't do it, because it will get in the way. So anyway, we will move on. I'm sure everyone has got that message. So that was working with the squat in the suspended, wrong in the supported spine position. Going to move on to the suspended spine. So how do we go about introducing the squat in the quadruped position? Well, potentially easier than you might think. First of all, I like to see people get up into the quadruped position in the sort of flow movement that we've learned, where elbow under the shoulder, other elbow under the shoulder. Remember, TJ, not behind, because you see how many shoulders drop. You want to be supported in that nice high sphinx position. Then the leg comes up, knee comes under, hand under shoulder, hand under shoulder. You get your knee under. And then just come back onto the ankles, and you can see there that you're then in a squat position. Now, if you're in a classic quadruped position, the knees are under the hips, so the knees are probably more narrow than you would usually squat with, unless you're Rob York who's got an Afghan squat. So what you can do, and this is only if you're afforded the stability, you can position your knees and feet as if you were going into a squat, and then go down that way. And you can drop the head if that helps. Now remember, it's about getting your hips down towards your ankles. That's the key. And I think it might make you feel as if you're getting lower if you flex the spine and put the head down there, but in fact your hips ain't going to move much. Getting those hips back. Now, for those, and only those who've got competence in that position, you can then look at coming back and coming into the squat.
Yeah.
But only those who've got competence in that. If you don't have competence or confidence in this position, don't go there. Just position your knees and feet as if you're going into the squat, and go back into it that way. Everyone can crack on with that one. Or fire me any questions if you have them.
Yeah, I need no one.
Not a problem, Amber.
I'll have my Diet Coke on, but no. Yeah. See? There we go.
TJ, remember to try to get into a good quadruped position first, so you've got that lower spine curve, that lumbar curve.
Lower your right hip a little more.
So you want those knees slightly ahead of the hips. Once you've got your knees sorted, bring the hands under the shoulders. Without moving the hips, bring the hands, that's it, bring the hands to the shoulders, not the shoulders to the hands. That's good. You can maybe, I'm being picky, but you can bring those hands back a little bit more, and that might put a little bit more of a lower back curve in. Because the higher your shoulders are, the more that you're going to get that curve. And so if you want those, your arms in one perfect plumb line coming down. So head up, that's it. And then try to move back into that squat position over the ankles. And by the way, TJ, that's massive progress anyway, just being able to get into that position unsupported. And you can move, you can walk your hands back if it helps. That's it, mate. But then you want to try to lower your chest down to the knees, because that puts you in the squat position. But not after a kneel, but after getting down into that squat. So can you... No, TJ, that's a kneeling position. We want you, that's a stacked spine. We want a suspended spine. That's it, just as Julie's showing you there.
Turn toes. Be on your toes.
That's excellent, mate, if you can get down there. Well, but we want those hips towards the ankles.
Oops, what happened? Where'd you go?
You only feet down.
Sorry, he didn't get the directions. I'll do it.
That's all right. You're all over it, Julie. I'm happy with you there. Gary, how did you feel about that one?
I think I'm learning.
Yep.
What are you doing now?
And move those hips back onto those ankles. You can get the knees nice and wide. That's it. And then hips onto ankles, and then lower that chest down to your knees. That's it. All the way to, perfect, Gary. Perfect. So the fact that you're lying on the floor is fine. You are in a squat position. And that's what you want to start trying to teach the body, that it can get there. You get in that position and then breathe. Big, full abdominal breaths.
Tom, what do you need to do with your squat to get that a little bit more stable, do you think? What needs to happen? What needs to happen to make that work better, do you think?
I probably need a little bit wide, be able to get into a wider stance.
Yeah.
And a bit more dorsiflexion.
Yeah. If you look at Timor, like, yeah, I agree, Tom. I think you're spot on. If you look at Timor, look at like the width of his stance. Like Timor could sit there all day. He's like,
Yeah. I've always envied his squat.
To be honest, Tom, I don't think it's a lack. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't think it's a lack of dorsiflexion that gets you there, because it's more difficult dorsiflexion wise to get into a narrow squat.
Yeah.
I think it's a hip flexion issue.
Probably. That's the root of most of my problems, but
Yeah. So if you know, if you focus on the straight leg raise or the straight leg lower, I dare say that will start offering some benefit to yourself.
yeah.
And I think that's one of the beauty of addressing each pattern like this and doing it both in depth, but then also taking it straight through the supported, suspended, stacked, because it sort of protects us from our own, or certainly from my lack of objectivity. Whereas if you try to assess something at its most complex and work out what's wrong, then that's always a challenge, and you know, you're not necessarily right. That's awesome. That's Santiago. You've been getting a little bit of rotation in there as well, weren't you? That was good to see. Right.
You,
Now,
you're
just going,
comfortable.
so going on to a subsequent pattern for the squat build up. We've done supported. We just did suspended then. Now, to move into a stacked position, a little bit as TJ was actually getting a little bit ahead of the curve before, is you can just sit back onto the knees and come up there. Notice my lower back curve. And so you're in, when we go into a deep squat, we have maximum dorsiflexion, maximum knee flexion, maximum hip flexion. So that's what we want to try and replicate. So you can tuck the toes if we can. As it happens, I've got a toe injury, so I ain't going to spend too much time in this position. You can tuck the toes to affect dorsiflexion. There's your full knee flexion. And you would have to start in that position to have full hip flexion. What you can do is you can come up out of there and then practice that next aspect of the squat, which is extending at the hip. I'm coming up straight. As I say, I've got a toe problem, so I'm going to take the ankles down there. If anyone's got an ankle or a toe problem, you know, it's no big deal if you're not up on your toes. So you're sitting there like that, and then big breath in. As you come up into the kneeling position. TJ and Gary, I'm not sure if you're going to have confidence in this. If you don't go there. You're more than happy with the stuff you've been doing already.
Be comfortable.
Do you want him to try it at all to see if he can do it? I mean, like, where do you know what?
Well, it's see how he feels first of all in that position. If he can get the lower lumbar curve, which he seems like he's doing there with the high, with his head up, but chest up and out, TJ, so you can put your arms by your side. And then if you try to come up from there, if Julie, you could go behind him, you should hopefully be able to use your arms if you fall forward, TJ. And then on a big breath in and get those shoulders back. And as you come up, keep pulling those shoulders back. Excellent, mate. Excellent. Now you want to, that's it. You want to get into a position there where you are structurally supported. You don't want to be hanging off your quads.
He's going a little far for.
Yeah, that's what he wants to be there. Can you tuck your toes under, TJ?
Can you tuck your toes under?
Only my left.
No, okay, fair one. But if you can't do both, then leave both flat. And then see if you can go back down under control, TJ. So the way to go back down under control is to keep pushing yourself up, but just not quite enough. See how you don't lose your spinal position on the way down. And then on another big in-breath, and Julie, help him in the same way. That was fine now. Big in-breath and push yourself up, TJ. That's excellent, mate.
So that was all him.
That's it. And then lower yourself down, mate. Lower yourself down. Remember to keep that spinal position. So keep spreading the chest. Keep breathing. So big full breath in and then forced out breath as you lower yourself. Keep that chest up and out. Really good, mate. Really good.
He sinks a little bit to the right on the way down.
Yeah, there's every chance there'll be an imbalance in the hip. One of the things that you can do, which might be beneficial for you, is Julie, if you can help him to get up into the tall kneeling position, and then he spends his energy lowering himself down, and then you can help him get back up, and then he lowers himself down. I think that's potentially the quickest way in which he could start to develop competence in his hip extension.
Okay, we'll do it.
So, you can pop your hands under his shoulders and just assist him all the way up. So there's no struggle on TJ's behalf. Then you have a big full breath in, mate. Big full breath in, and then lower yourself down under control. You just give him balanced, Julie, not support. That's good. Though you've got to remember, you've got to lean forward a little bit, TJ. As you're going down, you've got to start compensating coming forward. Otherwise, you'll topple over backwards. So help him up again, Julie, if you can. A big breath in. I want a forced out breath, and I want you to lean ever so slightly forward all the way down. That's it. I think that'll be a productive drill for you, that, TJ.
Okay.
How are you doing, Gary?
So just give him a rib cage thing.
That's good. Try integrating your breathing with that, mate. So when you come up on a big in-breath, forced in-breath, and then controlled forced out-breath. Let me hear you hiss on the way down. That's good. And what we want to try to do is get you to a point where you see how you were putting the hands forward to aim off in case you collapsed. So potentially if Joni could assist you so you don't feel the need to aim off for cost of failure, because that will take away from the pattern. If you can just concentrate on lowering yourself under control. So you maybe just have your hands under his armpits, Joni. That's a nice place for him. That's it. And you just focus on trying to get symmetry within that movement, Gary. I think that would, like I was saying to TJ, be really beneficial for you.
All right.
That look good and controlled, Timo.
Thank you, Steve.
So in breath on the way up. Don't look at the floor, look straight ahead. Now cycle the breath up there. And lower under control. Have you tried to you turn that left foot so you got the toes under?
My right foot doesn't want to do it.
No, doesn't want to know. Fair one. Well, if you could try to get that left foot at least get both feet symmetrical. Yeah. I'm not sure which one has to move. Just get them so they're both symmetrical. Big breath in, spread the chest, look ahead. Now lower yourself down, big breath in, and then forced out breath, lowering yourself down.
I was doing much better a minute ago.
Okay, that was really good when you went up there with the toes tucked under. You looked really solid. And then I think there was maybe a line was crossed when you were trying to hold the position, and then the ataxia kicked in. But
right.
if you kept that range below the ataxia, I think you could develop a lot of competence there, and then just keep trying to push the ataxia back.
Okay.
Could I have a little look at you, Brooke? Sorry, Brooke. That's excellent. Now, just so you can get greater range in the hip, because you've got such good control there, can you do that with the ankles flat? This is just to get better range. That's great, Brooke. That's really nice. Reese, are you able to put your camera on, mate?
Ready?
That doesn't look as if there's any difficulty there at all. And can you tuck the toes under as well? That's it. That'll actually just make the action stronger. And you can see that straight away, how that has an impact on your spinal curve. That's really good, that. Right, so one last movement I want to try to show you in the suspended position that's relevant to the squat, and how you can focus on individual sides, is into the quadruped position. And once again, I've just adopted it like this for brevity, try to go in using that flow I've instructed before. And so one leg out to the rear on an in-breath, and then you rotate on that down knee. You can come into the squat position there, and come down as low as you wish, and then on an in-breath, come up straight. Side. Number two, Brooke, if you, rather than bringing the leg forward and round, if you, instead of bringing the leg round the quadruped position, move the quadruped position round the leg. So extend, that's it. Now, that's it. Perfect. And you want to try to move yourself or orientate yourself so that that supporting knee for you, you're right. So that's going to be vertical. So just get the right amount of rotation such that it's vertical. And if you've got to do a little bit of adjustment in situ, then, you know, that's not the end of the world. Now, that's great. So what you could do, you could just move yourself over so that the your right thigh is straight and vertical. You could just pull that left leg in, or the right knee, either way. That's it. And with a little bit of practice, you'll get used to doing that rotation. Linda, that looks great. And look like you might be able to get a little bit more range of movement out of there if if you're happy going all of the way down and sort of stabilizing at the bottom, if you see what I mean, rather than trying to keep balance throughout. That's it. Exactly. That's what we're after. You see, and then that's where we get that little bit of learning. And I think you'd be better with your head up and looking forward so that you can focus on something on the horizon.
Okay.
The horizon shot is always the one which will deliver better balance and orientation.
Jules, those last couple of reps were a lot better actually, because you focused on getting your bottom down to your heel there. And that was, whereas I think the reps that you just did prior to that, I think you were focusing on getting your chest down to the floor. But that last one, if you're Jules, if you're able to do that one more time, and also
brilliant,
then,
Linda, by the way.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. Thank you.
nice stuff, Linda. Yeah, and just see if you can make sure you keep that other leg straight as well, if you can.
Extended, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So there, Jules, stop there, go back. Yeah, so see, just focus on seeing how low you can get your bottom down towards your heel. Just take your time, really work into that hip flexion. Well done. Yeah, good. I think your left side is probably a little bit more flexible by the looks of it.
Yeah, the right side's very tight here.
Just see if you can keep that right leg straight, Jules.
Are you able to come up into the stacked position, Jules?
But to go up?
Yeah, come up straight. Yes, that's it. And so really kick that backside to the rear as you come down. So basically put your arse onto your ankles. That's it. Kick it right out. That's it. Now keep that head up. Spread the chest as you come up, all the way up. Excellent, mate. Really good. How are you doing that one, Gary? You're looking more comfortable in that in that kneeling position already. That's good. You want those hands under the shoulders, not ahead. That's what's affecting your stability there. All right, Reese. See you next time, mate.
See you, Reese.
So rotate round to your. Ooh. Yeah. Well, if you don't have confidence in that one, Gary, and the rotating round, the stacks of all of the other stuff that we've done today, don't worry about that one. Is anyone else any questions on that? TJ, is that one which you're indulging, or you're striking that one off? Yeah, that's a fair one.
Focus on the other one.
Absolutely, mate. Focus on quality. Wait, mate, the real palpable progress, how stable you're looking in that quadruped position, in that good spinal position, is, that's building the basis for a hell of a lot of progress. Any questions from anyone on that?
What do we call that one again, Steve?
Oof.
We did it a couple weeks ago and figured out the name.
Yeah. Do you know, I don't have a succinct name for it. I mean, like, for instance, what I've written down in my notes here, quadruped single leg extension and rotate half squat. So just call it John or something.
Single leg rotations.
Yeah.
Does that work as
quadruped rotations, maybe?
Does that work as an acronym, Steve? If you took the first letter of each of those things, does that work as an acronym or not really?
No, Quizler. Yeah, Quizler. So that doesn't really paint a picture, does it? Righto, let's move on to the actual squat itself. Is it, well, one or two variants just on that theme which we've looked at there is from the kneeling positions. You've obviously got open half kneeling, and you can come down and up into that. A lot going on at the hip here because of the different positions of the other leg and the different arrangements for balance. But I won't put everyone through this one here, but it's one which is there as an option. And then similarly for forward leg, forward half kneeling, you can come up. But you know, these are sort of quite advanced movements. So moving into the squat, for entry level at the squat, you can do what's most often called the box squat, which is squatting down onto a seat of sorts. Now, I would not advocate, certainly if you've got an option of some sort.
Just saw your puppy, Steve. Happy Veterans Day.
Cheers, mate.
Just thought of it.
You want to try a box squat, i.e. squatting down onto something. A couch or a settee isn't often your best bet, because what generally happens is you move up to the settee for confidence, and then you squat down from here. Now look how my center of gravity is getting behind my base of support, and you get to a certain point where you're going to collapse. If you're going to do a box squat, you have to have the box or the seat at a height where you don't collapse. It's important to have at the minimum a measure of control all the way down. So you want something like this, so you can get the feet either side, so that you can squat down and keep your center of gravity over the line of the feet, which you can't necessarily do if you're going to use the sofa. So you want to be able to come down like that. Once again, you want to integrate your breathing. So maintain the tension there and push off. What often happens with people in the squat, certainly when you go down to the depths, if they descend using gravity rather than under control, when they get down here, everything is being pulled to its maximum length. When it's being pulled to its maximum length, it's not terribly strong at trying to pull the ends back together. So you can come down here, but then you can't get out. So if you find that your deep squat has those characteristics, you get down, you can't get out of it. The way to do it is to move into it with a full, so everything's all pushed out to its maximum, so you've got pressure there, and then, and if you can only get to here on the out breath, 3 sharp intakes again, and then bring yourself up and out. Well, you can use a variety of props for the box squat. As I say, something which allows you to keep your center of gravity over the line of your feet. So, yeah. Ah, perfect, Corey. that had a hint of collapse about it, young man.
Yeah, I'm getting a little tired.
So if you couldn't get down there under control, you could just pop a cushion. Because you once again, that did look like you dropped. That's better. That's good, mate. Really good.
Right.
Even if it's just for awareness, Linda.
Yeah.
You appear to be having a form of a seesaw motion to try to come back up. But I think that's only because you're coming down in the squat and then sitting up straight. If you see, because that's a little like I was saying about doing it next to the couch. You wouldn't be able to sustain that position without the box. So if you stand up straight,
Yeah.
as in stand up straight, don't sit down, and then can you move your feet more to sort of halfway through, half, yeah, they're a little bit nearer the back now, so let's find that nice mummy bear position. There we go. Now squat down onto that. And then when that's it now, you sat back a little, but it's nowhere near as much. So, and you want to try to keep your heels engaged with the floor. I can see they're raised slightly there. So leaning forward is fine. You want to just keep that same posture when you go up and down. Because what you've found again is that you're now behind your heels. You wouldn't be able to maintain that position without the box. So, and then when you're bringing your feet back, your heels are coming up. So that's where you want to try to find the position where your feet are as far back as they can go without disengaging the heels.
The right one is okay, but the left one isn't.
Yeah. Well, so you just got to move forward slightly. And then, so you're going to have to then lean forward in the position. So hinge forward at the hips. That's lower your chest to your knees. Lower it to your knees. That's it. So pitch forward, pitch forward. That's better. And so that was all nice and controlled. So when you come down now, when you touch down, don't change the position of your spine. Don't collapse and don't change yeah. Little bit of a collapse and now the heels have come up.
Yeah.
So what I would say is keep pushing through the heels all the way down. And even once you're down, keep pushing into the floor.
Okay.
Don't collapse and don't sit back once you're down. Keep pushing into the floor. Now back up. Don't collapse. You see, you're relaxing when you get to the bottom. And as soon as you relax, you then go into a sort of a position where you're supported by the box that you couldn't support by yourself.
Yeah.
You're putting your center of gravity behind your feet, but you're lowering yourself all the way down. Great. So just maintain that tension at the bottom. When you maintain
and don't sit like a sack of potatoes. I know.
Yeah. But I mean, we're nitpicking because your squat's that good. It's difficult to find easy progress.
Yeah, but I need to progress as I keep sticking to the point that I don't come up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers, Brooke. Thanks for joining.
Oh, still in the spotlight.
Well,
Very
it's because your feet are ahead of you, and so if you bring your feet back, but then you're going to have to lean really forward, which is fine. Drive those feet into the floor. There you go. Right. So now, when you are about to touch, just feather the box. Don't put your weight onto it, just so you can feel it through that. Yeah, that's it. Now push up out. Yes, that's it. And then you can just keep controlling that range and putting. Yes. Excellent. That's great, Linda.
Well done. Well done.
Did that...
Steve, our food is ready now, so I'm gonna have to scoot, matey. But really great work, everyone. Really good stuff. Really good to see you all.
I think we've just got the squat ninjas left. I'm gonna do the the progression.
Steve, I'll be in touch, but we'll
all right.
I'll message before Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well done, everyone. See you soon.
Thanks, Crispin.
Right, so I'm going to get everyone to go through well, those who want to take part, or anyone who wants to just watch is fine. Going to show you one or two frog squat flows. Obviously, given the game away, the frog flow is one of them. So I will start with the frog flow, if I can remember it correctly. Corey, shout out when I'm getting it wrong, mate.
Yeah.
We start in quadruped, and then 1, 2, 3, and then back into the squat. From the squat into the crab, like that. And the reason we do the legs out here is because it changes the squat position. So when you come back, you've got to try to find that position again. You can't just rely on the position that you've descended in. So here. And then you can, well, maybe probably that's just to go into the quadruped again. And then you would go into the, from here into forward half kneel on each side. Yeah. There's one, there's the frog flow. There's another one you can do. The deep squat. This is quite difficult with my injured toe. I shouldn't need the touchdown, one on this side. And then a slightly advanced one from there, where what would be the best way for me to start here. Come out. And go from the other side. Then you just go through that same. Right, going from the top. Tell you what, I'll start off with Tom. He usually benefits from getting the top tips from everyone else. Which one do you want first, Tom?
Right, I guess.
Yep, that's cool. They're all really beneficial and have their own challenges.
The second one is a really painful one for me.
That's excellent, mate. Spot on, bud. Absolutely top draw. Hey, you know, for something to an example of how far you've brought your movement, mate. That sums it all up. That one. That's excellent. All right, Corey. You can follow straight on, unless you want to do another one of the flows.
I'm good with that one.
Yeah, fair enough. Safety first. Oh, remember, don't reach forward with the hand. The leg comes forward. Keep the hand under the shoulder. Keep that head up. Just as a tip for anyone watching, try to reposition the knees and the feet while in the quadruped position, and then move back into it. But if you do feel you need to adjust, then do adjust. That's great, mate. I'm going to kick that hip out, lean the shoulders in the opposite direction. That's it. Oh, no. You're kicking that left hip out. That's it. Then the right shoulder, the right shoulder needs to drop. That's it. Big breath in. Kick that hip out, though. Excellent, mate. Kick it out. Corey, that's great, that, mate. That was really smooth. I don't know whether you felt it yourself, but yeah. I think the more of you practice on that one, you'll really start to nail it.
Yeah, thank you.
Santiago, what you fancy, mate?
Yeah, I'll try that.
Nice position, that, mate. Yes.
Nice.
Santiago, that was awesome. Couple of little stumbles to show us that you're human. But other than that, mate, that really was
Good
Smooth
job.
and graceful movement. Bang on,
Thanks,
mate.
guys. Easy.
Bang on.
Impressive squat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was perfect camera angle as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Linda, which one
Yeah.
do you want to do?
I like to try the third one, but I need some guidance.
Yeah? Oh, cool. All right, so start sitting back on your ankles.
Yeah.
And tell you what, if you want to look in at me, I will give you a little bit of a refresher.
Yeah.
What we
that's
do from
fine.
here is we do a running action. So
That was it. Yeah.
if I'm going to bring my left leg out, left arm forward, right arm back, but you see, I'm the elbows dictates it. So from there, and then on an in breath, I'm going to drive myself up, and at the same time bring the leg out. So, and then I can fall back down.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can see how that's positioned now. The foot is just in front of the knee, which means I can dorsiflex forward, sink down, breathe in, and then just rotate up. And then rotate down, and then look where I am. The foot is just in front of the knee. So I can dorsiflex forward, breathe in, and come back up. Don't you start before we get the camera on you.
Okay. Oh.
That leg comes out as you drive up. The leg comes out as you're driving up. Yes, excellent. Now just reposition it. That's it. So that looks about right. But get it where you feel it's right.
Oh.
You have to use your hands. That's fine.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Because by using the hands, you'll get the familiarity with it. That's great. And then just flip it back up. Rotate that left knee. No, just the left knee up. Just reverse what you did.
Oh, I'm already there. Oh, yeah.
Yep. That's it. Yes. Now bring that knee down. Excellent. And then now you can stay sat on your ankles. This is a good hip mobility. And now you're going to bring that leg out and round and then tuck it back under. I can demonstrate if you wish. No, that's it. That's cool. And then you do the other leg. Excellent. Awesome, Linda. Go on, go for it. Big breath in. Big breath in as you do it. Yes. Oh. Oh, it's great. You can feel those things on the pelvic floor. The levers pulling, can't you?
I feel every muscle.
That's it. So reposition the feet, reposition everything. You never want to sort of try to move from a, that's it. It's going to be a little bit too wide at base.
Sorry, thank you.
Noble efforts, Linda. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Great.
Just a little bit of practice and looking at the video, and I'm sure you'll have it nailed.
I hope so, but thank you.
Jules, what you fancy, mate?
The first one.
Go on, mate. Let's see it. It's known as the frog flow, by the way.
Okay.
So three strides forward.
It's four, doesn't it? Yeah, I'll just. Right.
Try and get that, if you can, that right hand splayed. So if you have to drag the fingers back to put them into position, that's it. That's it. Well done. That looks nice. Now into the crab. Yes.
Job. Yeah. Cool.
That's great, mate. It's nice.
Wow.
Yes. Good, mate. Excellent. That's great work, mate. Great work.
Well done, Jules.
Thank you.
Timo,
All
what you
right.
fancy, mate? One for the
We're
frog.
going
Tom?
with the frog.
And the knee first. That knee first this time. And
Yeah.
hand always stays under the shoulder. That's it. Yes. See how much more stable that is, mate?
Right.
Nice. That's a good squad, man.
That's
All
great.
right.
Timo. Remember to keep your breathing integrated. Keep breathing, mate. Breathe that ataxia away. That's it. Sharp sniffs through the nose. Sharp sniffs. Well done. Great work. And breathe, and breathe. Awesome, mate.
Yes.
Timo, that was magnificent.
Now for the finale.
Nice.
Okay, almost.
That
That was
was
awesome.
great, mate.
Well done, Timo. Right, thanks, Steve.
Timo, magnificent, mate. That's
you.
That's a great milestone.
I did hit the mirror.
Yeah, mate, all objects were safe.
Right. For once, no blood, no glass.
Hey, that was awesome. That you're going to get a clip out of that one, I tell you.
All right, thank you.
TJ, is that you, mate? All righty. Well, is anyone any questions on any of that? That was a great session, fellas.
Yeah, cheers, Steve. Cheers, everyone.
We're still here, we're just watching.
That's all right. That was great. And so, well, all sorts of take homes from there. I certainly once again want to stress the single leg raise. It's such a straightforward thing to practice, and so straightforward to get it right, and really progressive, but then just dead easy through lack of discipline to waste your time with it, or worse, program a flawed pattern. So, take the route of progress, guys. But outside of that, there's some brilliant performances there. I'll get the recording up as soon as possible.
Cheers, Steve. Cheers, everyone. See you
Without
on
further
Monday.
ado, we'll see you on Monday.
Also,
Cheers, guys.
to let everyone know, this was not a setup. I wasn't told to ask that question at the beginning about the single leg raise, so I'm not a shell.
That sounded like
he wasn't
a plan.
part of the conspiracy. He didn't know he was going to bring that oppression onto you guys.
What's the subject on
Slopey
Monday?
shoulders, Andre. There, like.
What's the
Sorry,
subject
Linda, what
this
was that?
month? What's the subject this Monday?
After the squat will be, it should actually be tall kneeling to
Okay.
forward half kneeling to standing. But
Okay.
yeah. But it's everything that's going to feed into that. But
Yeah.
Linda, you're certainly someone who's got either got competence or is nearing competence in that pattern, because that's the Turkish get up, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, but as we've shown today, there are all of the different implementations of the same pattern, but being done in supported, suspended, and then variations in stacked. So, you know, it's never about just practicing the end pattern, because, well, if you've got competence in it, you know, move on and focus on more complex stuff. So
Yeah. I'll be there this Monday.
well, we'll see you all on Monday.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ta-ra.
That's
Thanks.
right.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.